So Western music is all built around the major scale, and fully understanding it really opened my eyes and ears to the hows and why music is created and why it sounds the way it does. Now there is a common assumption that learning any type of theory sort of ruins creativity or can like hold you back in some way, almost like you get pigeonholed into learning this rule book that you have to follow. But having a deeper understanding of the major scale really helped me as a musician develop, and it actually aided my creativity. So in today's lesson I want to really show you the construction of a major scale, which will then unlock how chords and other scales are actually formed. And by learning this will start your journey in learning more about the major scale, about how you can use it to train your ear, to improvise, to solo, to study other musicians, which will aid in your creativity, helping you become a better guitar player. So let's jump into it and let's have a look at the major scale. So we're going to look at the key of C major, which is the only major scale that doesn't have sharps or flats. So here's a root note, which is C, which is the 3rd fret of the A string. Now from here, we go up 1 tone. So a tone is 2 frets, and we get D. Another tone, E. A semitone, 1 fret, F. Tone G, tone A, tone B, semitone C. So that formula of tonalities is exactly the same for every single major scale. So when I'm looking at a scale like this, I'm not thinking of the note names. Obviously I'm thinking of the note C because I need to know what key I'm in, but I'm actually thinking of distances, I'm thinking of intervals more so. So let's go through the intervals in the major scale. So from the note C, we go up a tone to the major 2nd, a tone to the major 3rd, semitone to the perfect 4th, tone to the perfect 5th, tone to the major 6th, tone to the major 7th, and then a semitone back to the root note, which we actually call the octave. That's why it's called an octave, because it's the 8th note of the major scale. You'll start to see lots of things are related. It's like the 5th note, root, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whenever we're playing power chords, we are playing the root and the 5th together, which will create this sound. Okay. Now you don't have to call it the major 2nd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, major 7th octave. You could just call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I don't want to dive into it too much from this lesson, but you do hear about 9s and 11s and 13s, and that's not like a completely different scale. That's still based around the major scale. You know, notice we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 octave, which is the 8. You just carry on. Now, that 8 is the same note as the 1st note. We just carry on. Obviously I'm going to run out of frets here, but on the same string you have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then so on. So let's look at how we can play this in one position. Learning it on one string is ideal so you can see the distances between one note to the next, but as guitar players we would like to kind of play it in positions. So if we start on the note C, we go up a tone to the 2nd, a tone to the 3rd, semitone to the 4th, a tone to the 5th, tone to the 6th, a tone to the 7th, and then a semitone to the octave. So the other position would be here. Root, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then octave. So I'd highly encourage you to learn both of those shapes and then start moving it around onto different strings and then different keys. So for instance, you could play C here. Or you could then play off the D string. Notice my shape did change a little bit there, so you have to be a bit careful because of how the strings are tuned. It would have sounded like that. And then off the G. So from knowing those intervals, if I just said to you, okay, a major pentatonic scale has a root, 2, 3, 5, 6 octave, you can easily work out how you play the scale just from knowing the formula. So you're just taking each note, the root, a 2, a 3, a 5, a 6, and then an octave. Now I just wanted to tap into this a little bit because I think it's important to understand, but there will be more of this in future videos, so make sure you subscribe for that. So if we take the note C and go up a tone, that's our second. Now there is a fret in between that. Now we call that a flat second because we're taking the second and we're going down a semitone. Now if we take root 2 up to a 3, that could be called a flat 3, third, fourth. Obviously 3 to 4, there's no sharp 3, there's no flat 4 because it's a semitone distance. Then we have 4 up to 5, so we could have flat 5 or we could have sharp 4. 5 up to 6, flat 6 or sharp 5. And 6 up to 7th, flat 7th or sharp 6. And then flat 7th up to the root note or octave. So with that information, very quickly, if I just said to you, can you play me 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, all you do, you take your major scale that we just learned. When you get to the 4th note or 4th degree of the scale, just sharpen it, go up 1 semitone. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, root or octave. And that is a scale called Lydian. So now you can see the relationship between knowing and understanding the major scale and how that interacts with learning other scales and how and why the intervals are named the way they are. Chords are formed by stacking thirds on one another. So if we take the note C, basically what this means is we take the third note of that scale. 1, 2, 3, we get the note E. Now that distance is 2 tones and we call that the major third. 1, 2, 3, or a third. From here, we take that note and we go up a third from that note in the scale. E, F, G. That is 3, 4, 5. That's the 5th note or 5th degree of the scale. So now we're left with root 3, 5. Root to a third is 2 tones. Third to a 5th is a tone and a half. That spells out a C major triad, root 3, 5. Now, if we take the next note, D, rather than calling that the 2, we're going to call that the 1. Then we take that same approach of stacking thirds of one another. Just need to remember, it needs to be notes within the C major scale. So you go D, E, F. So this is a tone and a half apart. We call it the flat third. So from here we got F, G, A. So that A note is actually the 5th of D. I can quickly check that as well because I know a power chord has a root and a 5th in it. Here's our root note of D. I can just double check just by going 2 frets along 1 string down. I know on the A string that's always the shape, root to a 5. Or you can look at it visually 3.5 tones away from the root. 1, 2, 3.5. So that is a D minor triad. So we got C major, D minor. Next one, we take the note E. We go up 3 notes from that note. 1, 2, 3. We get G. That's now a flat third. Then G, A, B. Now let's just check if that is a B. So if I look at my power chord here, my root and to the 5th, that note is a B. So that's an E minor triad. Root, flat 3, 5. Next note is F. F, G, A. That's a major third because it's 2 tones apart. Then A, B, C. So again, I'm checking my power chord again. That note is a C. F to a C is a 5th apart. So that is F major. F, A, C. So move on to G. G, A, B. That's a major third, that's 2 tones. Then B, C, D. So I need to find a D. Is that a 5th from G? It is. So G major. C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major. So up to A. A, B, C. So that's a flat third. C, D, E. That's an E note there. So A minor. So the next one is B. So we have B, C, D. B to D is a flat third. Then moving on from there, D, E, F. Now let's check if that's a 5th. No, because that note there is an F sharp. This note, an F, is a semitone below that, so it's not a 5th, it's actually a flattened 5th. Root, flat 3, flat 5. So chord 7 is a completely different triad. It's called diminished. So we now have 7 different triads. We have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, then we go back to C. So let's hear how they sound as just bar chords moving up. So it's C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major. Open chords, C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C major. So working stuff out by ear has got to be one of the most important things any musician can do. And now you've understood what the major scale has to offer, and that's why I've done this video up here, which is going to make your life working out songs so much easier. So remember, learn, discover and create, and I'll see you over there.